Live from our studios on Karaba Avenue, this is the QTV Nightly News with me, Jul Denjai. Thank you for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. In light of the recent killing of another member of the African diaspora who had moved to the Gambia, the African descendant community in the Gambia, while appealing for calm, has called on the government to enhance law enforcement. On Monday, the National Youth Parliament of the Gambia held its first ordinary session of its 9th Parliament for the 2024 legislative year at the National Assembly Chambers in Banjul. On Saturday, the Gambia Women's Chamber of Commerce celebrated its 5th anniversary and hosted the 4th edition of the Business Forum and Awards Night. In international news, at the recent Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHOGM, in Samoa, leaders from Commonwealth nations adopted the Apia Commonwealth Ozone Declaration for one resilient common future. In sports news, Gambian footballers again put in brilliant performances for their clubs over the weekend with a mixture of goals, assists and exciting football. These and other stories coming ahead. Do stay tuned. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now let us look at the news in detail. In light of the recent killing of another member of the African diaspora who had moved to the Gambia while appealing for calm, the African descendant community in the Gambia has called on the government to enhance law enforcement. And Sumana Isonyasi reports.
Gambia's reputation for hospitality, giving rise to the country advertising itself as the Smiling Coast, has long tempted people of African descent to move here. However, with rising reports of alleged robberies and murders targeting people of African descent who have settled here, the Council of African Descendants CORD representatives expressed their concerns on Saturday about this trend. At the press briefing, they made the call for stronger law enforcement to protect their community. In the latest such incident, Leonard Dominic, who had moved here from the UK, was found murdered. Luke Mackenzie and Adrian Ryan, respectively the chairman and vice chairman of CORD, shared their security challenges and urged the government to bolster law enforcement by providing adequate resources to prevent crime and ensure that perpetrators are held accountable.
We are all distressed about this situation. So what we've done today is we need to hear from more of the community. It's come the time where we no longer can be quiet. I remember when I first came to this country and we used to have little situations that would be happening and people would say to me, shh, 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 be quiet, don't say anything.
What is happening now affects the whole community, not just diaspora, but everybody living in the Gambia. You know, it affects the whole community. You know, a killing normally affects the community.
Another member who prefers to go by her Gambian name Binta, along with Empress Zara, also expressed their concerns about the recent rise in violent crime against the African descendant community in the Gambia. They emphasized that these incidents have serious repercussions, creating panic and fear among community members who are deeply worried about their personal safety. Both women shared their first-hand experience of robbery.
We have a police force here, but they're so underfunded. You know, they don't seem to be able to do very much. It's not that they don't have the ability. They have the ability to do it, but they're so underfunded.
I was stabbed in the temple, but it didn't go through the knife because he gashed me because of how I sprayed him. So maybe if I didn't spray him, I could have survived it. Heaven knows, but it happened.
Lord Robertson, a friend of the late Sakina Chinedu, who was violently murdered in the Gambia in May, shared that Sakina's killing sent shockwaves through the African descendant community. He joined others in calling for increased support from law enforcement for the community, noting that such violence is deterring other African descendants in Europe from considering settling in the Gambia. Saturday's press engagement also featured members of Gambian civil society who voiced their concerns and shared valuable insights about safety. They discussed ways to collaborate with the government to enhance security for the community. None of those we spoke to expressed a desire to leave. However, their love for a return home to Africa, and the Gambia in particular, has been severely tested by recent events. Just last week, the U.S. Department of State issued a Level 2 travel advisory for the Gambia, urging travelers to exercise increased caution due to crime and inadequate health infrastructure. The advisory highlights frequent theft and home burglaries, particularly in the Banjul area, as well as concerns over the country's healthcare services, which are described as below U.S. standards. Ansmane Sonyasi for KTV News.
May their souls rest in perfect peace. Now, on Monday, the National Youth Parliament of the Gambia held the first ordinary session of its 9th Parliament for the 2024 legislative year at the National Assembly Chambers in Banjul. Mam Nabuka has the details.
Over 60% of the Gambia's population is under 25 years old, a critical age for making key life decisions that shape the future.
Currently, when you are going to the Gambia College, which has now been transformed, you pay.
These young lawmakers are here advocating for their peers.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Ndegen Job is the Deputy Speaker of the National Youth Parliament.
The decision we make today will save the Gambia we leave for future generations. And as young people, we are ready to lead with determination and purpose.
The National Youth Parliament is dedicated to promoting good governance and democracy while empowering women and youth across the country. Lamin K. Jammeh, the Youth National Assembly member for Fonye Berefet, has filed a motion regarding the draft constitution of the Gambia.
The National Assembly also have an oversight function. And when the president has the sole power to elect anybody in any office, then the appointment of some individual, there will be party influence.
Alassane Cham, the youth representative for Bakau, introduced a motion to consider and adopt the new official website of the National Youth Parliament.
This digital device, it's important as it will help the National Youth Parliament to be able to make transparency, public engagement, and enhance accessibility.
The United Nations Development Programme has been supporting the Gambia's democratic transition since 2017. Mandisa Moshologo is the UNDP country representative.
I urge each of you as members of this parliament to embrace your role as leaders. You hold the power to shape the laws, policies, resource allocations, and practices that will guide the Gambia's future and strengthen the social contract.
These regular sessions of the National Youth Parliament highlight the government's commitment to youth empowerment, as outlined in the National Green Recovery Focused Plan 2024-2027. Mam Nabuka reporting for QTV News.
Now, on Saturday, the Gambia Women's Chamber of Commerce, GWCC, celebrated its 5th anniversary and hosted the 4th edition of the Business Forum and Awards at the Sadauda Karaba Jawara International Conference Center in Bijilo. Loliam Kamara attended the event, and this is her report.
The vibrant celebration attracted an enthusiastic audience of well-wishers, family and business professionals, all eager to hear inspiring success stories from GWCC members who are making a difference in their communities and across the nation. Nafi Bari, president of the GWCC, emphasized that the Business Forum and Awards Nights highlights the tremendous potential of women in the Gambia and the collaborative effort required to support their advancement.
Much more work lies ahead. We call on financial institutions, development partners and policymakers to celebrate with us in creating better financial opportunities for women-led businesses.
The newly appointed European Union ambassador to the Gambia, Immaculada Rocha I. Cortez, praised the achievements of GWCC members and acknowledged their remarkable work. The UNDP Residence Coordinator, Mandisa Mosloho, reaffirmed her organization's dedication to supporting women-led businesses.
Since its inception phase, the GWCC has been supported by UNDP the Gambia through our entrepreneurship and private sector development program to establish itself as an inclusive national entity advocating for women entrepreneurs.
Jilan Senghor was the evening's guest speaker.
Allow me to congratulate tonight's awardees. You are unsung heroines who have shown us that when we invest in women, we invest in families, communities, and the economy as a whole. May this recognition bring immense benefits to you, to your families, and to the Gambia as a whole. To all the nominees, congratulations. You have demonstrated exceptional dedication, innovation, and leadership in your respective fields. Your achievements are a testament to the power of perseverance and passion.
The fourth edition of the Business Forum and Awards Night honored 6 remarkable women who promote inclusion, including Aissatou Jaseka, CEO of the Q Group Foundation, Jojon Dur Tambedu, CEO of Insist Global, Widat Soika, owner of Widas, Laila Khadra, owner of Malak Chemist, Halimatu Jallo, CEO of NAFA, and Jilan Senghor, Managing Director of Trust Bank. Nyamasata Toure received the award on behalf of Aissatou Jaseka. I am honored to accept this award on behalf of Aissatou Jaseka, the Chief Executive Officer of the Q Group Foundation. She has been recognized for her unwavering commitment and support for women in STEM. The event created a lively networking environment, enabling attendees to share their experience, build connections, and discover innovative strategies to enhance their skills. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
That report there by Lolly M. Kamara will take us to a commercial break. When we return, we have more international and sports news stories for you. Do stay tuned.
Welcome to the future of transportation in the Gambia. The Bertel Harding Highway, a 22-kilometer double carriageway, is set to revolutionize travel and connectivity in our beloved country. A 3-lane highway means more space for vehicles, smoother traffic flow, and reduced congestion. Each lane has a specific purpose. The leftmost lane for overtaking and faster vehicles, the middle lane for standard driving, and the rightmost lane for slower and turning vehicles.
Q Money and Orange Money has just made money transfer easier. Now you can send money from Gambia to Senegal directly from your Q Money wallet. So what are you waiting for? Get your Q Money account now and start sending money to your friends and families through Orange Money in Senegal now. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV News. Over the weekend, the Zayed Bun Harris School for Quranic Memorization in Madina Talokoto, Kombo East District of the West Coast region, hosted the second edition of its Quranic recitation to evaluate students' knowledge of the Holy Quran. Lamin Alaji Funding Dabo reports.
The organizers say this Quranic memorization school aims to promote Islam and the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It was built by the village youth who contributed from their limited resources. In her welcoming remarks, Olimatu Koli, the Alcalo of Madina Talokoto, thanked Allah for enabling the event to take place. She explained how the land for the school was acquired and highlighted some of the challenges they faced along the way.
4 years ago, I provided the land for the youths to construct this school. We began building 2 classrooms last year, but they are still not completed. We are reaching out for assistance from Muslims everywhere, asking for support in cash or kind to help advance our school. Currently, over 200 children are enrolled, and many parents are eager to register their children, but we face a shortage of classrooms.
The event was attended by parents, members of the community, and Islamic scholars. Suleiman Koli, the chairman of Zaid Bun Haris Quranic Memorization School, expressed his gratitude to the donors, including the African Muslims Agency, for their support in providing 2 Quranic teachers and covering their salaries.
Some parents in the community come to the school intending to enroll their children, but we have to inform them that the school has already exceeded its limit. This is why we are seeking support to help us develop the school by completing the 2 unfinished classrooms. Although the school is meant to be a boarding facility to enhance the students' Quranic memorization, the lack of adequate resources, including 3 daily meals, prevents the children from staying overnight. If everything were in order, the students would be able to have their breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the school. We are appealing for support.
Ustaz Suleiman Demba, one of the Quranic teachers at the school, urged all Muslim parents to do their utmost best to support their children in their pursuit of Quranic education.
The school is in urgent need of several items, including furniture for one of the classrooms, which currently has none, while the other classroom is equipped. Additionally, we require assistance to complete the 2 unfinished classrooms, as the number of students far exceeds the capacity of the current facilities.
Learning the Quran is vital as it enriches individuals spiritually, intellectually, and socially, significantly contributing to both personal and communal development. Reciting the Quran brings numerous rewards from Allah, particularly on the Day of Judgment. For QTV News, I am Lamin Alhaj Fandin Dabo.
Coming up next is international news. At the recent Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, Chogum, in Apia, Samoa, leaders from Commonwealth nations adopted the Apia Commonwealth Ozone Declaration. It urges all 56 member countries to take action to protect and restore ozone health in the face of urgent environmental challenges. Lena Igwenyiba reports.
The Apia Ocean Declaration, introduced at the conclusion of the 27th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, Chogum, charts a course for bold, innovative and transformative actions towards a Commonwealth united in ocean prosperity, resilience and sustainability. This declaration supports both individual and collective initiatives aimed at the protection and sustainable use of ocean resources. A key focus of the declaration is the recognition of maritime boundaries as sea levels rise. It sets ambitious goals, including the protection of 30% of the world's oceans and the restoration of degraded marine ecosystems by 2030. Additionally, it emphasizes the urgent need to finalize the Global Plastics Treaty, ratify the High Seas Biodiversity Treaty, develop coastal climate adaptation strategies, and bolster support for sustainable blue economies. The Commonwealth represents a third of the global population, with 49 of its 56 nations having coastlines. Among them, 25 are small island developing states, SIDs, particularly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, such as rising sea levels, increased ocean temperatures, and acidification, all of which threaten marine life, ecosystems, and coastal communities. Samoa's Prime Minister Fiame Naomi Mataafa called for the declaration to be seen as a line in the sand for the world, marking a transition from ocean exploitation to protection and sustainable management. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena Igwenyiba.
Also in international news, more than 600 million women and girls are now affected by war, marking a 50% from a decade ago. Many believe the world has forgotten them amid a growing backlash against women's rights and gender equality, according to a senior United Nations officials. More in this report by Mumudu Gajaga.
In a recent study, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres highlighted that due to unprecedented levels of armed conflict and violence, progress for women is diminishing, with generational gains in women's rights hanging in the balance globally. He noted that the transformative potential of women's leadership in peace efforts is being undermined, with power and decision-making largely remaining in male hands. The research indicates that the proportion of women killed in armed conflicts doubled in 2023 compared to the previous year. UN verified incidents of conflict-related sexual violence increased by 50%, and the number of girls suffering grave violations in wars rose by 35%. Seymour Bowers, the executive director of UN Women, emphasized the neglect of women's voices in peace discussions during a recent two-day UN Security Council meeting. She referenced the fears of millions of women and girls in Afghanistan deprived of education and opportunities, displaced women in Gaza, victims of sexual violence in Sudan, and the fading hopes of women in Myanmar, Haiti, Congo, the Sahel, South Sudan, Syria, Ukraine, Yemen, and beyond. Bowers stated that the 612 million women and girls affected by conflict wonder if the world has forgotten them, saying, while there is a need for the world to address their concerns with optimism, the reality is bleak. 1 in 2 women and girls in conflict-affected areas faces moderate to severe food insecurity, and 61% of all maternal deaths occur in 35 conflict-affected countries. Bowers also noted that women's involvement in decision-making and politics in these regions has stalled, with the percentage of women in peace negotiations remaining stagnant over the last decade, averaging under 10% across all processes and under 20% in UN-led or supported negotiations. In a small number of cases, women make up part of the UN global peacekeeping missions. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News.
Up next is the sports news. Gambian footballers again put in brilliant performances for their clubs over the weekend with a mixture of goals, assists and exciting football. Amadou Tamba gives a roundup.
On Friday, exciting Gambian winger Jibril Silla scored in the 50th minute for Azam as they beat Kengol 4-1 at home in the Tanzanian Premier League Round 9. Gambian midfielder Alassane Mane provided his 6th assist when he picked out Max Ekdum to score the winner for OB Odense in their 2-1 home win over SBOG FB in the Danish 1st Division. Mane's international colleague Yahya Bojang was an unused substitute and James Gomez was not in the matchday squad. Gambia's most informed striker Alassane Jatta scored the only goal in Notts County's 1-0 win at home to Harrogate Town in the English League 2. Jatta has now registered 6 goals and 2 assists in 10 games. The win took them up to 3rd in the division, 4 points off the top spot. Former Banjul United captain, Gambia under-20 and under-23 forward Mohamed Samba scored twice for his Faroe Island side HB Tórshavn as they beat EB Streymoy 4-1 away from home. Samba's goals gave Tórshavn a quick 2-0 lead before the opponents pulled one back. Mohamed Samba has now racked up 4 goals and provided 6 assists in 23 matches as his team sits 3rd on the table, 14 points off the top spot. Spain-born Gambian 18-year-old striker Omar Jane scored the winner for Atletico Madrid B 4 minutes from time in their 2-1 win away to Hercules in the Primera Federación Group 2. They lie 10th after 10 games and 5 points off the top spot. In Italy Serie A, Sweden under-19 forward Aliou Ndiaye, whose parents are Gambian and who is said to also have Gambian citizenship, scored the only goal. His side beat a Como side featuring Gambian international Aliou Fadera. On Sunday, Scorpions winger Musa Juara came off the bench to score a solo goal in Vejle Bold Club's 2-0 win at home to Lyngby in the Danish Superliga. Juara picked up the ball in his own half, running at the opponent's defense, twisting left and right before letting fly a beautiful shot into the top corner. His international teammate Hamza Barry came on as an 82nd minute substitute. Once again, it's been another weekend of sparkling action from Gambian players around the globe. For QTV News, Amadou Tamba.
The report there by Amadou Tamba brings us to the end of this bulletin. But before we go, here is a recap of the headlines. In light of the recent killing of another member of the African diaspora who had moved to the Gambia, the African descendant community in the Gambia, while appealing for calm, has called on the government to enhance law enforcement. On Monday, the National Youth Parliament of the Gambia held the first ordinary session of the 9th Parliament for the 2024 legislative year at the National Assembly Chambers in Banjul. On Saturday, the Gambia Women's Chamber of Commerce celebrated its 5th anniversary and hosted the 4th edition of the Business Forum and Awards. In international news, at the recent Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, Qagum, in Samoa, leaders from Commonwealth nations adopted the APIA Commonwealth Ozone Declaration for one resilient common future. In sports news, Gambian footballers again put in brilliant performances for their clubs over the weekend with a mixture of goals, assists and exciting football. That is all we have for you in this bulletin. Do join us again at 10 p.m. for another news bulletin. Thank you for watching.